Welcome to the MTR Network. We are back for another Super Tuesday recap of Supergirl. I'm Shanna, and I'm here with the doctor.
Hello.
And we are discussing Supergirl's latest episode.
This is episode 4.
Thank you. Episode 4, The Faithful. Usually I have this on my sticky notes, and this week I had to watch this while I was at work, so I have it on a different app, so I was trying to pull up the right thing. So it's season 3, episode 4, The Faithful. It's so weird to me that some of my shows are in season 3s, like some of these shows, which I wasn't sure if they were going to make it past season 1. So what did you think of this week's episode?
Oh, I absolutely loved it. I'm actually going to watch it again later. I really, really liked it because I know you sometimes think that the supers are kind of boring heroes, but this one really got at what I love about their journey. And that's the whole idea that at the end of the day, yeah, they might get one upped a little bit, but their ultimate battle is with themselves and like the burden of remembering everyone they saved. Because she's sitting in that room and when asked her, it's like, do you remember her? She's like, I remember all of them. And it's like, how do you live with that? Knowing that not only do you remember everyone you saved, that means you remember everyone you failed to save.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like the idea that this week there was no villain. Chad Lowe's character, he wasn't really a villain. He was just a true believer who had an awakening during a really dark period of his life. So, and I appreciate that because it would have been easy to turn him into this cartoon wahaha villain when he realizes, wait, I may have gotten some of this wrong, but it doesn't shake the fact that you saved me. That set me on a different path spiritually, and I'm not going to let that go. But I also recognize that you need some help too. So the little bit that my prayer can do for you, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm about to cry thinking about it. It was just so beautiful. I love this episode.
I really enjoyed this episode as well. I think that my issue with generally with Supergirl and Superman is not. My issue is that I think with their power set, a lot of the times it feels kind of ridiculous, the villains that they go up against, right? Because at the end of the day, it feels like this should be like short work. This should be light work. What I really liked about this was, I think Kara's journey and what has been so interesting this season and giving her so much more depth is her not just having to figure out who she is in the wake of all of this stuff that just happened last season, but also her having to confront and really deal with her alien side and all of these things that she hasn't clearly processed since leaving. I think it was the second episode with Sai, we got the whole thing of finding out that she had these panic attacks. This used to get panic attacks. And then this episode, we're finding out she had a whole religion. I think we knew there was a God. We had heard of like Rao and all that stuff. But she had a whole religion. Like she essentially used to go to church with her mom.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of these kind of repressed things are coming back up. And I just find that really, really interesting. I think it's giving everybody around them really good opportunities to act. And then we'll talk about it a little bit later, but they brought back the thing that I've been saying was what made the show great.
Yes.
We got a Jimmy Cara scene where they like connected again, and it was kind of a CW pep talk, but just in that Jimmy Cara way that made season 1 so great.
Yes. I was like, yeah, I was so happy to see that. I was so happy to see that.
Yeah. Um, I just, yeah, I really, really love the whole everything, how they just weaved everybody in there. The final montage at the end
Mm-hmm.
was beautifully done. It was one of those, just, classic TV montages where you like check in on all of our characters. But
Yeah.
really what we were like checking in on for a lot of them was like everybody had their own kind of faith, which I thought was really interesting. I know it's called The Faithful, and that's it. It starts off about these people who are worshiping Kara, but it really was an episode about faith done
Mm.
in a Supergirl superhero way.
Yes. And it's weird because I know when I put the feedback post in the group, I did that based on the IMDb. The
Mm-hmm.
one thing that threw me, and I need to stop using IMDb, I guess, is that they said, well, John comes clean about something. John didn't come clean about nothing except he started praying with his daddy. I'm like, what was it?
Oh yeah, I don't pay it to. I don't know who writes those little summaries. I never pay attention to the summary. I go to IMDb for the who was in it and the episode title and number. That's about
Yeah,
it.
because the reason I did it because I was out of town late last week and through the weekend, so I had to auto set it up. So I auto set it up a week ago, and okay. Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this episode we start off with a guy on the guy on the plane who's just like happy. He's talking about how his life is going good, and then Chad Lowe, because it's immediately Chad Lowe. Chad Lowe just comes in just spicy, just spicy off top. Just talking
Like women
about
ain't shit, life ain't shit, shit ain't
it
shit.
all seems good now, kid. It all seems good now. He's just losing it. And so then the plane starts to go down, and the plane is saved by Supergirl. And then the show just the best reveal. This was done so wonderfully. Like
Yes.
the plane is saved by Supergirl, and then Alex stands up and she's like, "Nobody panic, nobody panic.
I'm with
I'm
the FBI, and
FBI."
I'm like, girl, if you don't sit your ass down, the FBI ain't the TSA. Where are you going?
But it's so great because she does that, and I immediately was like, "It's the first episode." Like I just knew it. I was like, "Oh, it's the first episode," and then they cut to Kara in her like jeans and sweater because
For her date, because remember, she
yeah,
was going on a date.
because this is the first time that Kara became like the moment she became Supergirl, the first time she saved people using her powers, um, openly. And I think I gasped too when I was watching because I was like, this is the first episode, but then I was like, he saw her face. He knows who she is. Mind you, everybody sees her face because I swear to God, glasses are the worst disguise for your secret identity. But you knew immediately, like you got immediately that he knew who she was. Now, I'm over here thinking Chad Lowe is about to be our villain of the week. So I'm like, oh my God, what happens to Chad Lowe? Like, I'm thinking he's going to become like a metahuman, like we're on The Flash or something like that. So I was just like, what happens to Chad Lowe that he becomes an evil villain that goes after Supergirl? Show completely surprised me. Go in a completely different direction. It turns out that he is a follower of Rao, which is the god on Krypton. But really, it's interesting because he does it all through this Rao thing, but he's not worshiping Rao. They're worshiping Supergirl. He's collected true believers who are all people who have been saved by Supergirl and who worship her as a god. And I love the meeting that they go to.
It's like an AA meeting.
It's like immediately. I was like, oh, I think my notes are like, oh yeah, my note is like, Chad Lowe is a cult leader, like, with an exclamation point. Because the minute he steps up to that podium, you're like, oh my god, this is a cult.
Yeah. But can we talk about the fact that when that old girl approached Samantha in the park?
So
Okay,
creepy.
it was creepy, but okay, maybe I should wait. But I feel like at first when she did that, I was like, she knows she's a world killer. I was
Yeah,
like,
no, no,
she
no.
really went.
No, yeah, no, definitely. Um, so Chad Lowe has gathered his faithful. They have these meetings that look like AA meetings where people get up and give these testimonials about Supergirl saving their life. And it seems all chill and cool until you realize that he is also encouraging them
To do
to,
shit.
yeah, to put themselves in dangerous positions so that Supergirl will come save them. Like, because I was like, I don't see what's so bad about this. I was like, I don't see what's so bad about this. And then,
How did they talk that brother into setting a fire and then standing there? How?
oh my gosh, when I realized what it was, I was like, this black man would never.
Right. It's like, this is clearly.
Well, until I realized he was with that white girl, and I was like, actually, black men would totally do that.
Look, that girl, I don't know. I got to look up who that actress is. She brought me to tears when she gave her testimony. I was like,
It was so interesting. So she walks up to them all like, welcome, like all the, and you're like, oh, okay. And she's, and that's, it's really not even when Chad Lowe walks up to the podium. It's when you meet the girl, because there's always like some white girl who who is so into it that you're like, this is a bit much. So she like walks over and she's all like, well, you really have to experience it and blah, blah, blah. And then she gets up and gives her testimonial. And I was like, you know what? She could probably convert me. She could probably convert a lot of people.
look, when she said I expected it to be over quick and it lasted forever, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, especially because hers in particular was like other people are like, I was just at this thing and then something attacked and Supergirl saved me. But her thing was like, I gave up on my life.
Right.
And Supergirl saved me. And now I have a purpose to my life. That is a lot. That
Stop. I'm
is
supposed to cry
deep.
again now. Oh my God. I'm such a sap.
Yeah, I was like, wow, I was like, and this is also, maybe this is the turning point or the difference. This is like the second week in a row of like powerful monologues on Supergirl.
Oh, yeah. And not cheesy monologues, like powerful monologues.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. Is it the writing? Is it the act? I just don't know. Have they switched gears? I'm just trying to figure it out, because these monologues, these emotional scenes are doing it.
Look, all I can say is this. So far, right behind Legends, Supergirl is the most improved show in the CW roster.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of getting better each successive season. I hope I don't have to take that back.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was talking to some of my students this weekend, and we were talking. One of them is into a lot of the DC stuff, and so she was saying how she wasn't really into Supergirl. She stopped watching it because of that whole thing that we talk about. We talked for like 20 minutes about how people think that these like quirky girls who like trip over their feet and can barely talk to guys, like start stammering when they talk to guys. Like that is such a male fantasy of what women act like. And it's off-putting to women. Like, this girl, she's a teenager. She's like 16. She's like, I stopped watching the show because girls aren't like that. And it was annoying to her. And I was like, yeah, it makes no sense that like Kara is like all like flustered and like falling into things. Like, she's Supergirl. She should have amazing balance. Like, she should never be like walking into things because like a guy distracted her so much. But yeah, I told her, I was like, you should really watch the season because it's gotten a lot better. And she seems a lot more sure of herself, and a lot of that stuff has gone away. And I'm so happy. It's made the show a million times better. So then Chad Lowe takes it to... I honestly don't remember what his character name is. So that's part of the reason that I'm referring to him as Chad Lowe.
Is Thomas Colville.
Okay, because I'm just putting it out there. I'm just gonna keep calling him Chad Lowe. So then Chad Lowe, he decides. Well, Supergirl confronts him as Carl. She comes in pretending to do her whole like reporter thing, like, I'm just gonna find out what exactly is going on here, because Maggie is all like, it's not against the law to essentially worship something, and we don't have any proof that he's told anybody specifically to go do these things. They could just be taking it the extra mile. So she goes to talk to him as Kara, pretending to be a report. Well, she is a reporter, but doing her whole reporter thing. And he's like, is this a test? She's like, okay. He's like, I mean, because you're Supergirl, so are you testing my faith? And she's like, she does like the just like the wide eye, like exactly like.
Doesn't look anything to me.
Why? Whatever do you mean, citizen? I am not Supergirl. I just love this whole scene. Because she tries to keep up the charade for maybe a half a second before she's like, looky here.
Let me put your ear for a minute, bro.
Like, since you already know who I am, let's talk about it. So he realizes that, like, or in what he sees is that she's become unsure of herself. And so he decides he's going to do this grand thing to bring more followers. He's going to attempt to blow up a bunch of people at a hockey game so that...
Now, question.
Yeah.
Real quick, before you say, did he know that thing was about to explode?
Yes, he rigged it. I think he rigged it so that it would explode, thinking...
Oh, okay. She could save him.
Yeah, that she would save everybody, that she would, like, I don't know, fly it out or something like that.
Yeah, that was the thing that confused me. I was like, did she know? I mean, did he know? I didn't think he knew.
No, I think he rigged it to explode, but I don't think he realized it had the kryptonite in it.
Oh, which would impact her ability to do what she needed to do.
Yeah. And then, yeah, and I think he thought he had because when he went to shut it down, he was like, oh, that should turn it off. I think he also thought that he would have the ability to shut it down as well. He was refusing to, but I think he thought that he had the ability to stop it.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm still here.
Oh no. I was just like, I don't know, she needs a second. And then the other thing I wasn't sure about was, or I initially thought when they showed the device that maybe that was affecting him in some way,
Mm-hmm.
but I guess that like it wasn't. Like I thought, like I was wondering if like maybe he was like possessed in some way, or if it was like because we find out that it's radioactive, whatever it is, that maybe that was affecting him in some way.
No,
Yeah, they
girl.
never confirmed that though.
No, I don't think it did. I think her saving him on that plane completely changed the trajectory of his life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was supernatural influence. Now, he got the tenets of his belief from the crystal and the information that it was the beta hedron
Mm-hmm.
and what it was putting out there, but the belief was his. This was all him.
Okay. Interesting. Oh, Chad Lowe. Um, so the scene that I really, really enjoyed in this episode, I mean, there were a lot of scenes that I really, really enjoyed, but in particular in this scene when she's fighting him, and she says that line, "I am not a god," or "I'm no god."
Hmm.
Beautifully acted. My notes in all caps is "You better act, Melissa." But also to me, what makes the DC superheroes hard, but also very can be interesting when they address it, is this whole idea that they're gods essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you talk about Superman and you're talking about Wonder Woman and the Flash and characters like that, they're essentially gods because of their powers. And I guess you could too look at it. Wonder Woman is based out of like Greek mythology with the whole like Themyscira and Diana and all that stuff.
Who's being
Um,
father?
yeah, and I mean the Flash you could look at as like I guess Hermes would probably be the connection there.
Yeah.
Superman is yeah would kind of be like a Zeus type character. Um, so yeah, this whole idea of them having these godlike powers but not being gods, but living amongst humans and what that means and how that changes them and everything. So that whole line, the "I am no god" line, I just thought was brilliantly acted. I love that this is something that they're showing Kara having to struggle with because she doesn't see herself. She says she's most at home when she's Supergirl. That was what she said a couple of episodes ago. But she knows that she's not perfect and she fails all the time. So what that must
Well,
feel
not.
like.
My goodness, not
Yeah,
all the
not all the time. Yeah. But it's like that's because that's in her mind, that's what it is. So that was what was great to see her see the folks that she saved because I think Kara, like you said, even though she remembers everybody that she saved, she focuses on the people that she wasn't able to save.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just really like it was deep. It had layers. It had a
Mm-hmm.
lot of layers this week. Um,
Oh, okay. So are we? I'm getting a sense that we're going like story by story. So
mm-hmm.
can we talk about the fact that we're getting more world killers?
Oh yeah, yeah. So yeah. I was gonna save Ruby and Samantha for the end.
Okay. Well, I
Um,
just know it's connected to how this whole plot line with Colville ends.
oh yeah. Well, okay. So they stop him. Obviously, working as a team, they're Supergirl team. They stop him. They get the kryptonite away from Kara. She's able to stop the device from exploding and everything. And then he actually ends up in prison.
Well, you can't threaten to blow up an
Yeah.
astro and not go to jail.
No, that's what I'm saying. But like it's like when it's like the Flash. Like, what do you do when the villain isn't some meta human? That we can just put in a
Well, technically, they're not supposed to just be putting those people down there.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
there's
That's
that.
what I'm saying. So it's like, what do you do when it's not that kind of a thing? And you're like, oh, so we're just going to arrest him, which he knows who Kara is. So she's like, so are you going to tell anybody? And I just love it because it's Chad Lowe. So he just does it in this like sweet fatherly way of like, I'm not going to tell your secret. But also,
What's your name again? I don't remember you giving me your name when you came to talk to me. I loved that so
it's
much.
so cheesy and so Chad Lowe. I love Chad Lowe. And
He is
so,
the superior Lowe of the Lowe brothers, yes.
oh, dang, Rob don't get no love.
At least as far as we know, he's the non-rapey Lowe of the Lowe
Oh my
brothers.
gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm just gonna put out an allegedly. Just in case.
No,
just
that
for
shit was,
legal. Just for
no,
legal.
no, 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 no. That was on tape.
Okay.
Rob Lowe, yeah, with that 16-year-old, that was on tape. That's what
Oh,
got him in trouble. There ain't no
everyone
allegedly about that.
everyone
Anyway.
is trash. Okay. So yeah, he's not going to tell her secret, but he's also like, you, he's basically, you are God, and I am still going to continue to pray to you and for you.
Because well, that was the best part. His line where he was like, you know what? When I saw you on the plane that day, you have found your purpose and you're clear. But now as I look into your eyes, I see the doubt and the confusion. And he was like, I'm going to pray that you get, that clarity of purpose back.
Mm-hmm.
And so without knowing everything that she's dealing with, he called it. He's like, you are struggling. And so because I believe in you, the most I can do for you, the best thing I can do for you is to lift you up and hope that you find your way again.
Yeah.
Because we need you to find your way. Which is so amazing because she thinks she's found her purpose and her way. And really, she's just been hiding in her work, essentially.
Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, this season is so good because I think they're dealing with all of the loss. And like, I think it started off and everybody was like, oh, it's just going to be every single episode. She's going to be sad about Monel and it's going to be all about Monel and da, da, da. And I think it's so much deeper than that. It's about all of the loss that she's endured. And that's why it was such a great scene when she got to see all of the people she's helped. Because it's not just about the losses, it's about the wins sometimes too. And I skipped right over it because we were mostly focusing on Chad Lowe. But the scene between Jimmy and Kara.
Yes.
We finally got an old school Jimmy and Kara pep talk. Really also just breaking down this whole idea of faith and religion, which was great. They talked about his faith. He grew up going to church.
No, I'm kidding.
And
He's a preach kid.
and the same thing with Kara. She talks about going essentially the worshiping with her mom. So that was just beautiful. Show like Supergirl talking about religion in their own Supergirl way. And then he, again with these monologues, Jimmy gets the monologue about the first time Clark saved him. The first time Superman saved him.
No. He talked about the first time Superman saved him. The first time he met Superman. Because she's like, yeah, the day of the play. He's like, no. Not when I met Clark. When I met Superman. And I love how he made that distinction so that he could get her back to making that distinction for herself. That, and Supergirl is what she does, but Kara is who she is.
Mm-hmm. And it was a great monologue. Makad killed it. Mm-hmm. You need I was there. I was also like, Jimmy, why are we climbing up on things trying to get pictures? Calm down.
As someone who dabbles in photography, that is a real thing. I am not surprised. That story did not surprise me in the least. It sounds like something my dumb ass would probably try to do.
But yeah, I really love that monologue and that whole story and just that whole scene. I think it's what we've missed so much because CW has their pep talks. We know we make fun of it, hashtag CW pep talk. But what was always so great about the Kara Jimmy ones were that he has this investment in her both as a person and a superhero because of his relationship with Clark. He cares deeply about her being the best superhero that she can be, but also about her being the best person she can be. Like you said, like helping her remember that distinction between the two. And I know first season, a lot of it was also around their attraction, their like little unrequited attraction that they have for each other. And so when that kind of fizzled out, we lost that. And it's such a shame because they play off each other so well.
They really do. And this scene showed it. And we have been missing that for a season and 4 episodes.
And for me, I think it shows that
you go.
The original love is still there.
So, Samantha, do we want to do Samantha or Alex?
We can talk about Alex. Okay, so I saw that tweet from Lowe over at TV Movie Mistress, and she was like, which one of you called it that Alex was going to mess up the relationship?
And I put in my lovely cat meme, like, me.
Yes. But also, I don't think she's messing up the relationship. I think she's finally being honest about what she wants. These are the conversations you need to have before you marry someone. Really, before you get engaged, but definitely before you get married.
And this goes back to something Maggie said when Alex first made a move. This is new to you. You are rushing it. We need to wait. So in that regard, yes, this is on Alex.
Well, it's not even that. I think...
Hashtag blame Alex.
I don't know why blame Alex. Because again, we get a dynamite monologue from Alex. I think it perfectly... I definitely think this happens because, people are in love and they don't have the discussions that they need to have. And I also think when you're in love with someone and you love them as much as Alex loves Maggie, you're like, this is something I can get past. And then you hit a point where you're like, I cannot get past this.
Yeah.
And that, it was rough to watch. It was really, really rough to watch. So basically, they are now all friends with Samantha, which was really cute. All of them like sitting around drinking wine and talking about like love and relationships and all this stuff. Just, typical girl. The fact that they had a scene with like, 6 women in the scene, 5 women in the scene on a superhero show on the CW. It took like nearly a season before Iris and Caitlin had a conversation.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So like the fact that they had this scene with all these women sitting around, I was just, this is amazing. So now they're all like besties, and Alex and the crew show up to see Sam's daughter perform. And
Alex, love that song. What is that song from she was singing?
What song did she do again?
Oh, is it something about in your imagination? That song.
Oh, she did from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
I had a feel. I could.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. I love that
Yeah.
song.
She
And
did
her voice
the
was so
Gene Wilder.
cute.
Yeah, so adorable. So kid at a challenge show. Just, just so simple, no backup, just adorable. And she does
Oh,
this.
and dear listeners, sorry about that poor, terrible attempt at singing,
Oh,
but yeah, you'll get over it. Go on.
you're fine. Um, Alex loses it. She just breaks down.
I want
And
a baby.
well, it's not even that. Like, I really
I'm
loved.
sorry. No, I'm not. I'm not joking on her. I'm like, I can understand that because that song, coupled with what she was dealing with, that reaction was totally warranted.
It was so her whole speech about how she wants to she wants to have those moments that, and even you could see it when they were having that conversation, and she's all like, oh wow, you're a single mother, like what's that like how do you do it? You can tell, like, she wasn't doing that thing, which, by the way, I hate when people do this. As a child of a single mother, I heard people say this a lot to my mom. As the daughter of a teacher and also somebody who works with kids, I hear people say this all the time. It's so freaking annoying because when people are just like, oh, how do you do that? I could never.
You know, what's
Oh.
funny about you saying that? I got that all weekend at my homecoming. I got that all weekend. And it doesn't bother me as a single mother. It doesn't bother me. But it's coming from people who were formerly married and are now divorced. And, to go from having a partner to share child rearing duties to now having to do most of it by yourself, which is the situation a couple of my friends have found themselves in. It doesn't bug me because I get it. They went from years, a decade and a half of having a partner to now having to do it by herself with a special needs child, no less, while also working on her PhD. So I get it.
But I'm not talking about that way. I'm not talking about like somebody being like genuinely like, how do you do it? Like, I'm like, that's how Alex was saying it. She was saying it as like, wow, like I never considered that, but I would be a single mom if I really wanted to have a kid. Like, that's how she's saying it. Like, let's talk about it. Like, let's, like, give me some tips. Let me know like what that's like. That's different. I'm talking about, I have heard this for years from people as somebody who works with kids. It's like, oh wow, I could never. You must be so dedicated. It's like saying
I'm
it
afraid
in
that's
that
so
like
okay.
condescending, like, oh my God, the sacrifices you must make. I'm way too selfish to ever do that.
It's like,
That
thank you for
way.
telling me about yourself. You realize you're tearing yourself down. Cool.
Yeah, I hate that. That's why I liked it, because Alex wasn't saying it in that way. Like, she was legit like, I never considered that.
Mm-hmm. How hard that must be trying to balance providing for this
Not
child, but
just
also giving the
how
child
hard,
what it
but
needs.
I could do that. You could tell in that moment that Alex is like, I want to be a mom so much that I would do that on my own.
Yeah.
Like, I could tell from her tone that she was literally considering it like, what if I had a kid without Maggie? That was the moment for her when
And
she
the
first
weird
considered
part
it.
of it is that completely went over Maggie's head.
Mm-hmm.
Maggie didn't catch that at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like she thought of it in that way, because Maggie's response was the one that was like, oh wow, like I could never do, like that response, like that very superficial, like I'm way too selfish to do that. And Alex's response was, oh no, I could do that, and wait, I'm willing to do that without Maggie.
Mm-hmm.
So it was two very different reactions, very subtle, but two very different reactions. That's why I really liked it. And then Kyler gives her, best Grey's Anatomy. Because, y'all, she comes from Grey's Anatomy, the world where everyone will cry at the drop of a hat and give you monologues. Grey's Anatomy is, maybe that's it. Maybe one of the Grey's writers came over to Supergirl, because Grey's will give you a monologue where somebody is just breaking down. Like, Classic Grey's moments. Pick me, choose me, love me. Ellen Pompeo acting her behind off. Yeah. Kyler bust out her best Grey's Anatomy monologue right there. She's like, I want to have kids someday. I want to I want to teach her how to throw a punch, and I want to teach her how, like, just all this. Just so, also, I am totally I'm in the butch lesbian in our relationship.
What?
That I want to teach her how to throw a punch.
Well, no, but I mean, think about it. Think about how she grew up. I mean, I want to take her camping and I want to do this
I
and
know, no, it
it
was
was
so
a balance.
perfect.
I didn't take it as a butch thing. I took it as this is a woman raising a well-rounded little girl. Funny how she assumed it was a little girl, but okay.
I know she wants to have a daughter, but no, it was a joke. But yeah, it was her best butch lesbian. So, uh, yeah, so. Well, I guess we'll talk about it during the montage. We'll talk about the montage, but
Real quick, are we allowed to say that?
I live in San Francisco. I'm allowed to
Oh.
say that.
I'm very sensitive to what's in culture and not, and I just want to make sure because
I'm like,
I
I
don't
like
want
all of these things.
to.
They've literally
I'm
lived
just
up
in my
to.
lane.
They've lived up to every single stereotype. The quick marriage, like all, like, just might as well have just pulled up a U-Haul outside. Like, I just like it is a thing. Like, these are like, yeah, I know some things are stereotypical, but a lot of things that are stereotypical are somewhat based in truth. So, um, yeah, so during the montage, we see her get into bed with Maggie. Um, and it's just heartbreaking.
She bursts into tears. I mean, Maggie sleeps like the devil.
Well,
How
like,
does she
Maggie
not wake
rolls
up?
over and, like, cuddles with her, and she puts her, like, hand over her mouth and is, like, trying to stop herself from, like, hyperventilating, crying.
But she's shaking. So
Yeah.
how is Maggie not awake? How did that not make her up? Like, she's shaking the bed. She's sobbing so hard.
I just, I mean, you feel for her in that moment. It's like, it's not about what this is going to be so great, because it's not going to be about, oh, Maggie dies, or, oh, somebody comes in and breaks them up, or it's literally, they are not in the same place right now, and it is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I'm so, I'm so excited. I wonder how many more episodes. It has to break next episode, right? It has to.
I
They
didn't.
can't drag this on much longer.
I'm not sure. I watched it on the CW app, so I didn't see the preview for next week. So I don't know.
I just I just feel like it has to happen. Like, we're at the point now. Like, now we see it, and now we've seen that this is not something Alex is going to get past. So it has to come out.
Yeah.
It's going to be so sad.
Question: how and when?
Yeah. But it's going to be some acting, though, because both of them have been doing such a good job. It's going to be some good acting. So finally, Ruby and Sam. Sam is continuing to struggle with being a working... And I would like to point out that even though she has a very high-ranking, powerful position in Elcor, I really like how they introduced us to Sam, because I thought her new job or whatever was just going to be like some secretary at a random company. She's very laid back. She's very chill. She never seems to be, she doesn't have that, like, uptight suit, button down kind of thing going on. She's not Lena. But she still has a very powerful job.
Right.
Which I like. So they open with her sitting at, she's sitting at her daughter's soccer game. By the way, this child does all the activities. Like all
But
of
you know
them.
what? It makes sense because it's like an overcompensation thing. Like you do that because you want, there's an element missing from your household. And so to offset that missing element, you try to keep them engaged in every way possible so that it kind of eases the pain that the child might be feeling about that missing element.
Yeah. So she's like,
And just to be clear, I'm not saying the missing element is necessarily the father. I don't know if the father was involved or for how long, but the missing element at this point that they're introducing to us is the attention that Ruby is used to receiving from her mom that she can no longer receive because of mom's job.
yeah, I didn't think when you said missing element, you were referring to the father at all.
Oh, I'm not. That statement wasn't for you. That was. That was
I'm not here to censor myself. I try to be sensitive to some things, but I'm not here to censor myself. I'm just gonna put that out there. You know, you can go ahead and at me directly if you have an issue. So anyway.
Oh, no, I'm not censoring myself either. I put that out there because people will come at me. Okay, so I feel for Ruby because I've been that parent for, God, how old's my kid? 16 and a half years. I've been that parent and still am that parent. So for me, I put that out there because I've been asked over and over, well, why didn't you get married? Because I'm doing me. That's why. How about you stay out of my womb, out of my bed, out of my relationships? But it's this whole thing. It's like, well, the boys are missing the father. I was like, they might be, but you know what? I'm not just going to let any random fool into my house and into my bed just so that they can have a father figure per se. So that's why I said that. That missing element doesn't necessarily have to be the other parent. Sometimes it's just a loss of a dynamic of a relationship. Yeah. So that's what that was about. So now that, PSA, the more you know, let's go.
Anybody who is thinking that anyone who is out here talking about like you should get with some dude just so your kid has a daddy. First of all, you should probably turn this off right now. I would appreciate it if you were not a fan. Second of all, like having any old dude around does not a father make anyway.
There's a reason the church.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, no, that's if you are that listener to our podcast, actually, you can shut it off.
Oh, go ahead and channel John from podcast fandom. Go ahead, do it.
Like, you can go.
You can leave. Why are you still here?
Exactly. Why are you still listening? I have no idea. Anyway, so she's at the sidelines of the game. I loved it because I didn't realize it until she pulled out the phone that she had her laptop open too.
Multitasking.
She was doing it all. She's like, good job, baby, good job. I loved it because she totally missed the goal, like when Ruby made the goal, but she did what any intelligent parent does when she was like, Mom, did you see? Of course I did, sweetie. You're amazing. That's exactly what you do. Real. That's exactly what you do. So I was like, yes, Mama, work. So then the creepiest woman ever.
Oh my gosh, she screamed David Koresh.
She walks over and I thought it was going to be the moment where we got like, this is one of the people that like, it sent them away, like knows that who and what she is. And she's all like, is that your daughter? She's like, da, da, da. And then she says something. She goes, you and Ruby are special.
Please, I got a stalker.
It's like, oh my God, this is not good. But I got excited because, again, I thought this was about the whole world killer thing. So I was like, ooh, are they trying to say that Ruby is the world killer? I just started all of these theories. I was like, oh, are they trying to say that Ruby is the world killer? Is that what's going on? Blah, blah, blah. No, it just turns out she's one of these like followers of Rao, and I mean, actually, they would make sense to try to recruit because they were saved twice
Mm-hmm.
by
Yeah.
Supergirl. So I was like, oh yeah, no, you should totally. I was like, no, that totally makes sense. I would totally try and recruit them. They were saved twice. um, but yeah, so Sam's whole thing, the whole episode is that she's struggling with trying to balance being a single mom with all of the work that she has, and she feels like she's, burning the candle at both ends and failing on at doing both. But more so on the Ruby side than the work side. Also, they keep peppering in that all of the deals that she's trying to get going, Morgan Edge is tanking. He's deliberately trying to tank their deal. So, with Adrian Pastar soon return.
General Talbot beat doing General Talbot shit.
Yeah. So I like that too, that they're, in the background setting that stuff up. Like his threat to Lena still stands. He's now determined to take down her corporation.
And you know what I liked about that one line being dropped in a way that, and I hope they continue this trend without necessarily having to pepper or overstuff an episode. They're keeping the threads going, which is something they struggled with in seasons past, where, Katniss would disappear and then reappear like, ha ha! It's like, why are you here? So I like that.
Yeah.
That was perfect.
Just dropping in that one line, like, that storyline is still happening and that he will come back. And so I really appreciated that. And then at the end of the episode, she now has this support system. They had their little girls' night wind down or whatever, and so so now she has aunties. Yeah, which I thought was really sweet because it is so important to have the aunties, like especially when you don't have other family and all of that. It's so important to have, women who, I see it a lot with my friends, and I'm part of the auntie brigade, but like I see it a lot with my friends that, being able to have that last minute, I cannot pick up so and so. Can you pick them up from school? Or, something just came up. I have to like run out of town. Can you feed the cat? Like those, like you need to have that backup, that circle. So now that's for her, it's Cara and Lena and all of them. And the best thing is if you can have a billionaire friend in that auntie brigade.
Listen, I love that. And I love what Lena said to her when, she was beating herself up. She's like, I literally have the worst mother. So you saying that your child having to sleep here, take a quick nap while you're working, and seeing her mom being this amazing person is laughable to me. And she didn't say it in a mean way, just like, girl, give yourself a break. You are showing your daughter what it means to be a badass, what it means to survive and thrive as a woman. That is a good thing that she may not understand now, but she will understand.
And even more so, I think what it is Lena's like, you care enough to have her there.
Right.
Like my mom would have just thrown me to some nannies.
Put me on a plane to boarding school in Switzerland.
Yeah, because given
made that up.
given that she is essentially Lena's replacement at Elcor, I'm sure she gets paid enough to have nannies. Mm-hmm. Like she is paid enough to like have somebody take her child to and fro, and someone else to sit at the games and to sit in these performances. She chooses not to because she wants to be there for those things, which I think is great. She, her kid is with her because she'd rather that than her be at home with some hired help. And on the flip side of that, what I will say is there is also no shame in having hired help. I think that's a big, that's something, I think I read an article about this, where it was somebody who has enough money to have all that and was basically like, we do other women a disservice by acting like we have it all, when really what we have is money to pay somebody to help us.
Right.
And I think more women who, if you have it, there's no shame in using it.
Exactly. Please, if I had it, listen.
Yeah. I'm like, in my attempts to one day be Mrs. Chris Evans, when we have kids, we totally might need a nanny because I'm still going out to premiere parties. Like, it's still happening. Anyway, no, I'm just being extra right now. Chris, if you're listening. Chris, if you're listening, I don't want you for your money.
She won't turn it down though either.
What's mine is yours. I have things that I'm coming into the relationship with. Anyway.
You are a nut.
But yeah, I really, really like the whole storyline. I love the relationship. Now that Ruby isn't out here walking headfirst into danger, I'm really enjoying the relationship between the two of them.
Listen, that was
Still
a
mad.
mess. Oh
Still
my
mad at that little
God.
girl for that.
So bad. She needed her ass beat so bad.
So yeah, I really, and so then in the final montage, which was really beautiful, it's Kara doing a prayer with her mother, with her hologram mom.
With her new hologram mom.
Yeah, her new hologram mom, because now it's, I will, I will say this, although every time I see them, I'm like, Erica Durant's, I can't believe she's playing Kara's mom. They're doing a really, really good job of what I'm assuming is leading us up to whatever big thing they're going to do with that. But she's been in every single episode this season.
Yep.
In some form, either in a dream or in a hologram or something. So they're really easing us into this whole Erica Durant's is now Allura thing. But yeah, so she's doing this whole prayer, and we see the Maggie scene that we saw, which was super sad. We see John and his dad, because his dad is a man of faith and prayer. So with all of this going on, you see the two, like him sit down with his dad to pray, which I just thought was, like, I got really emotional.
Yeah, it was sweet.
It was really sweet. And then, and the other part where I almost cried, was all the little girls in the Supergirl outfits.
Okay, now that was the part that took me out of the episode. I had to try so hard not to laugh. I'm like, oh God.
I loved it, especially it being, I was watching it on Halloween. So for me, all the, like, you see all the little girls dressed up like Wonder Woman and Supergirl and stuff for Halloween. So I was just like, this is really sweet. Like,
it was just so awkward given what the episode was about, like this hero worship.
Yeah, but it was good because I like the line that Alex said that, it's not, you inspire people to do good, and to be their best selves, which I thought was just sweet.
Dance was an exception, but hey, let me stop.
I mean, yeah, it was totally your like typical little girl recital type stuff. I was happy that Sam's daughter wasn't one of those little girls, because that would have been weird.
Oh, that would have been.
I'd have been like, that was what she was rehearsing. Okay,
like no wonder you didn't want to hear it.
Exactly. She was tired. But no, I really liked it, and then you see Sam, doing her little nightly routine. And she closes the mirror, and she has all these symbols on her face, which I'm sure the symbols will come back again.
I feel like that was the DNA coding when she created the sequences. Okay, because that's just a guess. I could be wrong.
I was like, oh, okay, symbols on her face. What's that? And then
they were all over her body too, because they were on her hands and her arms. And I feel like she's had this vision before, the way she reacted.
I know she has had the person with that like no face with
Right,
like
but
the
I mean,
sunken in eyes.
she was looking at those symbols like she recognized them.
Oh, I didn't get
Like
that.
she had that vision before.
No, I didn't get that, but yeah, no, that makes sense. Her she sees like the person with like the no face, and then it changes into this way. The one, it was a woman of color, correct?
Yes, it looked
Yeah,
like, well, in that lighting, it looked like,
yeah.
but they've been bronzing up fake Latinas, so I don't know.
And basically, she's like ominous voice, and she's all like, "One day you'll reign," which I thought was great. Like, because you know me, I've been calling her Rain the whole time. So
Yes, it was a woman of color. She didn't have, her character wasn't named, but it was Anjali J.
okay,
And Anjali is Indian
okay.
from England.
So, Ruby wanted her mom to be a superhero or to have powers.
Careful what you wish for.
Here we go.
And then, that gives us the flashback to Kara sending that beta hedron to the center of the earth, well, really to the bottom of the ocean, near
Yeah.
where Rain's pod probably got shook loose. And there are other tubes with other world killers. I'm calling it. Oh my God. But here's the thing. How are they going to budget for that?
Why are you concerned? Stop! Get out of Supergirl's pockets. Get out of Supergirl's pockets.
I want it to look good. And then I thought about it. I was like, well, they didn't have John do the Martian Manhunter thing. He was going to, and they stopped him. I'm like, okay, so they saving coins there. And okay, I see it. Stack the coins. I need it to look wonderful.
Get out of Supergirl's pockets.
No, I have a vested interest in this.
No, I really liked it. I love how we're leading up to this, and I still contend that it will be an interesting dynamic. I think it'll be interesting if Ruby's also one, but I think it's more interesting if it's not. If she's not.
I prefer she be one, because then you can't use the love of the child as a cop-out to
That is
save.
so happening.
I need it to be something else that drags her back. I need it to not be that telegraphed that it's this baby that does it.
It's happening. It is.
So feedback.
Especially because something has to, because I really like Sam and I don't want to lose her at the end of the season.
I feel like we're losing her.
I don't want to do it. Lucifer, I think I was just writing about this because I am finishing up my review for Project Fandom, but I think Lucifer did a really, really good job at finding a way to keep Trisha Helfer around.
Oh my God. Okay, so I take back what I said. I know when I was watching Lucifer season 2, I said, "Ooh, she's just." No, I didn't think I said anything about her acting.
No, because it's Trisha Helfer.
No, okay. I said, okay, I know what I said, and I'm not gonna repeat it here because I don't want nobody. I don't want nobody in my mentions. Anyway, but no, she acted her ass off. I'm like, oh my God, this episode is so good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, you ready for feedback?
Yeah. I want to keep Sam. So
yeah.
It's happening. Her baby's bringing her back. Okay, feedback.
Amani, okay, CW, come through with the writing and acting this season. Kara's cult finally calling out the fact that glasses aren't a real disguise, and Homegirl had a reaction. Oh, Homegirl had to reckon with what it means to be a superhero in the real world. You can't keep pulling that power of love stuff and not realize that for some folks that love is going to be an obsession. That is
you know what?
Good point.
You saying that also reminds me of the what's her name? Cupid on Arrow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I always really liked that character and her whole dynamic with Oliver of that love becoming obsessive. So yeah, it was a
Mm-hmm.
good call, good call.
But then again, Kara carries that notebook everywhere, but never actually writes anything down. So I wouldn't be surprised if she missed that too. That's so mean. Oh my God, Amani, that's mean. The women bonding worked for me. Even poor Alex's journey felt believable. I never actually seen ovaries explode on live television. What? Sir, what? Jimmy and Wynn hanging out again outside of being Guardian, and I'm hoping they get bigger roles once fake Latina leaves. I did like that little callback to that. That was nice. We haven't forgotten.
Oh, I also really liked just their whole how they were immediately like, we're totally gonna go to that with you, and she's all like, I'm like, I'm the superhero, like I don't need your protection, and it's like, but this is classic Jimmy Wynn Kara investigation, like
That was their whole thing. It's like, duh, we know that. We're not stupid.
yeah, like they were like, nah, girl, like we just trying to be down. We know some shit is going down. We just trying to be in.
We went back to the season one Scooby Gang. Come on.
Exactly, I loved it.
And they even had me invested in Sam and Ruby's story, even though that's about to go all the way bad. That last scene, though, World Killers soon to come, and it feels like they're going to be as badass as I need. Yes, 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 yes. I'm so excited. Okay, I'm sorry. Hello, ladies. The cult of Kara was pretty cringeworthy, but I understand why they did it that way. Imagine if there was a group of people worshiping one of us, and imagine how we would feel if we were Kara. Creepy Guy was real creepy, and Creepy Guy is the unwitting impetus for Samantha's change to Reign. I don't know that that's the case.
Yeah, no.
She was always going to change. I think what it is, the impetus was for, though, is waking the other ones up.
Yeah. That to me was what it was, because
She was already
they literally flash back, right? They say like however many hours ago. Yeah. So like we see the whole scene with Samantha, and then it flashes back. So they're letting you know that that's the trigger.
Yeah. Sorry. Speaking of Creepy Guy, he did a complete 180 from jerk ass to Creepy Guy in a span of 2 years.
I read it differently. I read it as him finding a purpose, not like his purpose was like weird and obsessive. But I think you genuinely feel like he feels that he is a better man 2 years later than he was 2 years ago.
Because I'm boxing it, so I'm going to apologize. When I think Creepy Guy, I think obsessive fan. He was just worshipful, and like he was bringing people together who felt the same as him. And because she's this corporeal being, it seems creepy. But when I think Creepy Guy, my mind immediately goes back to the man who killed that girl from, this is a show. Gosh, you might have been a baby when this show was on. Pam Dauber was on the show with a young lady. And the young lady had a fan who stalked her, and he came to her house and shot her dead. I think it was called My Sister Sam. Yep, My Sister Sam. And the actress that was murdered was Rebecca Schaefer. And she was young. I don't even think she was quite 20 when she was killed. Oh, she was 21. And yeah, so when I think that, my mind immediately goes to that. And I know that Creepy Guy doesn't have to have that extreme of a connotation. But he came more, I mean, he's creepy because, yeah, you're worshiping this corporeal being. But in this universe, is that really creepy? There's these fantastic supernatural things going on around you. That's I'm surprised more people aren't worshiping, to be honest. Sorry.
And I immediately also, that whole like, I am no god, all of that. I immediately thought to Justice League. Because so much of the Superman arc in the DC cinematic universe is people very much so kind of worshiping him as a god. And so, you know, it's just sad to say that I'm like, if the Supergirl writers were writing the movie, perhaps we could go more in depth with that. but that
Listen,
will never happen.
just saying.
I'm not over here advocating for the Supergirl writers to start writing some of these movies. That's what it's come to.
It can't get any worse than it already is, so why not? It was great to see my other future missus in my head, Katie McGrath, back. Although I wish they would let her keep her natural accent. That Irish slips in there all the time. It really does. She does it. I mean, it's something about like really deep Irish accents that like she has. Like she does a good English accent like she did on Merlin, but trying to do an American accent, it's kind of like when Anthony Stewart Head did an American accent on Dominion. Mm-hmm. Like his British wasn't slipping in, but you could tell it was so obvious that he was trying, and that lisp was strong. Mm-hmm. Actually, that's when my firstborn pointed out. He's like, I can always tell a British actor because 9 times out of 10 they lisp when they're trying to affect an American accent. And that's because our accents are trash. Anyway, it was good to see the Super Trinity, Kara, Wynn, and Jimmy in the fold together, and it was even better to see Kara and Jimmy share a pretty good CW pep talk scene together. Agreed. Yeah. Ruby got on my damn nerves early, but I have to remember she's a kid and kids say the damnedest things. They can't see the big picture. Ruby didn't actually bother me this episode. Ruby acted like a 12-year-old would act.
Yeah. I mean, she didn't. I think it's also, she seemed to be acting like just the usual, I'm trying to get my parents' attention. It was Samantha that seemed to be internalizing that in a way that was really rough.
Yeah.
But Ruby didn't seem to be any more demanding to me than any other kid who wants to get. I also spent this weekend at a pumpkin patch with my friend and her, 5 and 2.5-year-old, and the amount of mom, mama. I'm like, Ruby was fine comparatively.
Kudos to Odette Annabelle and Kyler Lee for knocking their emotional scenes out of the park. I felt terrified for Samantha when she looked in that mirror and saw all those Kryptonian symbols all over her body. And I felt so much sadness for Alex when she poured her heart out to her sister about wanting kids. That's all I got, I think. Yeah, I mean, and it's sad because I think people have given up on the show. Like we had read somewhere where the ratings were dropping. And I'm like, y'all, this is the season to be watching so far. And I know we said that last season too, and the last season kind of stumbled to the end. But seriously, this I'm confident. This, even when they stumble, they do good work. So yeah. This is the watch it. Watch. I mean CW is pulling it together. The Flash is fun again. Legends is bringing it, and we're getting a Vixen centered storyline coming through. And I'll let you talk about Arrow because I don't watch it. But Diggle looked like a Ninja Turtle in that picture I saw. So.
I, again, think that you guys are being too harsh, especially for people who don't watch this show and you're just judging it based on pictures. I really like the storyline they're doing right now.
I've heard it's good. I'm simply saying he looked like, what did they call him? Michael Negro on that, in that image is all.
It's really interesting. It feels very similar to the Sam taking over for Cap storyline, but with the Sam taking over for Cap thing, it was, you had that whole Hydra Cap thing looming in the background. With this, it's more that Diggle is trying to live up to this image of being a leader, and he is doing some questionable things in order to prove that he's a good leader. So it should be interesting. It should be a really interesting storyline. But, the stuff that's similar is the whole, the way Oliver talks about Diggle. He's like, you're the best man I know. This is why I chose you to do this and all that kind of stuff. So you can see like that pressure is going to weigh on Diggle. So yeah, I like it. I like what's happening so far on Arrow. Also, they're giving me my Olicity stuff. So
are those two back together? Because they had, never mind. Let me stop.
They are kind of back together. They weren't pursuing anything because Oliver's son is living with him now, but he just gave her a key. So
What happened to his mama?
she died at the end of last season.
I'm still on episode 17. I maybe over Christmas I'll finish and catch up. I wonder if I need to have caught up to watch the crossover. Shit.
I don't. It seems like the crossover is largely going to be based in Supergirl and the Flash, so I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, I honestly don't know. But I'm liking what's happening on Arrow right now. At first, I was not into Oliver's son at all because
is he like New Zach?
Yeah, he was kind of being New Zach-ish.
Oh God, no.
But he chilled out this episode, so I'm just trying to give this kid the benefit of the doubt because, yeah, he was being very like, the problem is you, Dad. The problem is you. I was like, no, and I personally thought he should have died at the end. I was like, we don't have time to be dealing with Oliver trying to, raise a kid. I was like, I don't have time for this. Just kill the kid and keep it moving. I'd much rather deal with Oliver's guilt over his kid dying than dealing with an actual child. But he seems to have mellowed out a little bit. We'll see where it goes. Any other feedback?
No, that's it.
Okay. So thank you guys for listening. We are really excited about this season of Supergirl so far, as you can tell. This has been also just more fun to talk about with everything that's going on and the acting, these monologues. They're doing such a good job with the writing. And this is why I say it's the writing. I'm going to stop saying, so-and-so's a bad actor. Unless I've seen them in multiple things and I don't think their acting is good, then I'll say that they're a bad actor. But really what I'm finding or feeling lately is that it's really the writing. Because that's also, if I think about it and I'm being like truly honest, there's a lot of stuff where I've been like, oh, so-and-so is a bad actor. And then I see them in something else, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be something more dramatic. Sometimes it can be seeing them do something comedic or whatever. And I'm just like, oh no, their character was just poorly written on that other thing. So I'm even, because I'm also,
of that to me.
Who?
Billie Piper.
Oh, I love Billie Piper.
Well, here's the thing. The first thing I saw her in was Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not like her character. Her character was insufferable. And I feel like she was flighty. But then I saw her in The Secret Diary of a Call Girl and then later in Penny Dreadful. I was like, oh no. It was just the way they had her written.
Mm-hmm.
Doctor Who. It wasn't her acting that was the problem.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I've decided that's the new thing for me. I'm like, this is not about the actor. The actor is fine. This is about people not writing well. And now we see it because the writing has improved on Supergirl. The guest stars are better. And it's just doing such a much better job this season. The show that just always gets me, that manages to have all the best guest stars, but is literally doing nothing with them because it's trash, Gotham.
Oh, I have not watched Gotham since y'all stopped podcasting.
I have stopped watching too, but every once in a while I'll see casting news and it's like, this season we have blah, 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 blah. And I'm like,
Didn't they cast Michael Emerson, who I love? He was on Lost. He was Finch on Person of Interest, which I'm currently rewatching.
They had B.D. Wong on that show for like a whole season.
Oh my God.
I'm
Why?
like, who is producing for Gotham that knows where the bodies are buried? Is this like a Weinstein? Like, is someone who works on Gotham has some like Weinstein level like dirt on everybody? Because how do they get these guest stars? Yeah, I just it continually frustrates me. Um, Woo. Also, quickly before we close out, I did want to talk about the new casting for
Black
Black
Lightning?
Lightning.
Yes.
So I'm looking it up right now. So they cast a character. I don't remember. I don't remember what her DC thing is. And of course, now that I'm trying to find it, the article is not coming up. They cast a character from the comics who is an Asian woman, and apparently her character is in the comics has a romantic relationship with the older daughter character of the two daughters. So I'm really, really excited. The more casting news comes out in general about this show, I'm excited about, because it really seems like they are really going there with the characters of color. And I'm trying to think. I haven't really heard of any white folks, really. Have you?
No.
Okay, yeah. So I'm like, I feel like so far every single piece of casting news has been about a black person for the most part. Her name, the character, the actress's name is Chantel Twee, which I believe is Filipino or Thai.
Mm-hmm.
And the character that she is playing, she was on Madam Secretary, that show that Katherine Heigl has, I think, on CBS, which makes sense. So her name is Chantal Twee, and she is playing the character of Grace Choi, a bartender. She's the love interest of Anissa Pierce, who's the older daughter, and she is apparently she's going to be playing a comic book fan. Which I always love when you have like the character in comics who reads comics. Like Miss Marvel. That's what I love about her. She always gets so excited about meeting the superheroes, because even though she is a superhero, because she's such a like geek and was like into that before she got her powers. So yeah, this is going to be really, really interesting. We have two women of color, lesbian relationship, on this black ass show of black superheroes. I'm super excited. I can't wait to start podcasting this. So,
Me
just
either.
putting that out there. Um, Anything else you want to add?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. So we will see you back here next week for the next episode. It's called Damage, and it's the return of General Talbot / Adrian Pastar. Morgan Edge comes back to mess with L Corp some more. So that should be interesting, especially now also that Sam is involved.
Yep.
Can't wait for next week. Thank you guys for the feedback, and we will talk to you later.
Bye.
Okay.
Oh, goodness gracious.